This guy is actually peeing in here. I bet that's not what you thought my first sentence would be. Imagine my surprise when I entered the stratosphere of smoke we call bathrooms in my high school. Once spaces used for their intended purposes, bathrooms have now become havens to escape math class and vape cotton candy-scented poisons with one's peers. It is non-common to enter the bathroom to find a dozen or more students crowded around the stalls and sinks, generously passing e-cigs and keeping the motion activator hand dry on to circulate the air. If it wasn't so dangerous, the teamwork might actually be impressive. On my campus and campuses across the nation, vape pens are reaching the hands of teens at alarming rates. 3/5 of teens have reported using an e-cigarette or vaping device sometime in the past, and 1/4 of teens have reported using one of these devices daily. Data collected by the CDC and analyzed by General Massachusetts Hospital indicates that the average vapor starts as early as 12 years old. This means that the addictive behaviors and physical damages that result are starting early as middle school. Because the framing by the tobacco industry is so powerful, most teens and preteens have no clue how dangerous vaping really is. Let's take a look at the physical consequences of vaping. Lung cell death, formaldehyde exposure, heavy metal exposure, and increased blood pressure are common outcomes. Even more terrifying is EVALI, or e-cigarette and vaping associated lung injury, a condition many frequent vapers experience. Research from the CDC indicates that vitamin E acetate, an oily substance found in many THC cartridges, accumulates in the lungs and causes pneumonia-like symptoms, such as bronchitis, shortness of breath, vomiting, tachycardia, and fever. Since first diagnosed in 2020, 96% of patients who presented with EVALI symptoms were hospitalized, and 68 of 2,807 patients have died. Balanced chemistry is critical in the human body, and when there's an imbalance of these molecules, problems can occur. There's a relationship between reactive oxygen species and oxidative molecules in the human body. When there is an imbalance of these molecules, oxidative stress occurs. The exotic flavors such as gummy bear, cheesecake, buttered popcorn, and bacon, yes, you heard that right, bacon, are by no means natural. A single puff with these exotic flavors contains up to 25 trillion reactive oxygen species. When this excessive amount is inhaled, this triggers an immune response in which even more reactive oxygen species are released in the lungs. This vicious cycle leads to excessive mucus secretion, blocking the airway and causing airway mottling. This inevitably leads to airway constriction. Numerous studies continue to prove the even more serious consequences of reactive oxygen species in the lungs: damaged cellular structures, premature lung cell death, and damage to lung cells' DNA. Lung cancer can be the outcome. In addition to the cancer-causing flavor additives, 99% of vape pens contain nicotine or THC. Since 2014, nicotine has been most popular consumed through vape pens. The most popular distributor's vape pen, Juul, contains 0.7 milliliters of e-juice, of which 5% is nicotine. This is designed for 200 puffs, or the equivalent of consuming 18 cigarettes. With average vapers consuming 365 puffs per day, this means that users are consuming well over the amount of nicotine than they would smoking cigarettes. With nicotine shown to be as addictive as cocaine, users are at the mercy of their nicotine addictions, and the youth is the tobacco industry's main target. By creating flavors which resemble tasty candy, high schoolers are being lured to the unrelenting hook of nicotine and all the other chemicals along with it. Additionally, many vape pens contain THC. Vape pens which contain THC have up to 4 times the concentration of even high-grade marijuana. At this concentration, its effects become more addictive and its effects become more powerful, possibly causing anxiety, tachycardia, increased blood pressure, and panic attacks. Additionally, that dangerous vitamin E acetate I mentioned earlier is added to THC cartridges to dilute the liquid. This increases the chances of hospitalization. Furthermore, nicotine and THC have both been associated with decreased reactivity of the dopamine reward center. Decreased reactivity of the dopamine reward center is associated with depression, addiction severity, and decreased motivation. Essentially, creating a dopamine junkie who's looking for any quick and easy high at any cost. Vaping has become a popular medium for these gateway drugs. Clearly, the physical effects are horrendous, but the impact on learning and education cannot be ignored. In 2021, a study was done which showed that students who used e-cigarettes skipped class more often, had more missing assignments, and had lower GPAs than students who did not use e-cigarettes. Teachers are forced to act as a disciplinarian or security guard as they are forced to punish students caught vaping. This tarnishes the relationship between students and teachers. Constant monitoring of who is in the bathroom and how long they are taking is taking away from the real work of learning and teaching that should be taking place. Teachers are frustrated, and a toxic environment in which there is a lack of real connection and understanding is created, making it difficult to establish a classroom culture of understanding and teaching. As schools report increased suspensions, this means students are missing days of class time or even weeks for repeat offenders. Though research has been done on the physical effects of vaping, there's a lack of quality, controlled research on the long-term effects of vaping due to its recent spike in popularities since just the mid-2010s. Because the tobacco industry has framed vaping as a safer alternative to cigarettes, there's a common misconception that vaping is actually safe. After experiencing a global pandemic which ravaged people's respiratory systems, it is important to consider the possible effects on immunity that vaping may have. To trailblaze the path for this research, I've conducted a research using daphnia, or microorganisms commonly used in immunity studies. The purpose of my study is to test the effect of e-cigarette liquid on the immune response of daphnia subjugated to bacterial infection. Essentially, the purpose of my study is to test whether daphnia exposed to e-cigarettes will have a different immune response than daphnia not exposed to e-cigarettes. In just a proof of trial concept, I exposed 10 daphnia to 125 microliters in 0.2 liters of water. At just this small concentration, all 10 daphnia experienced a total colony population death. Given this information, my hypothesis remains. Daphnia will experience a compromised immune system as a result of exposure to e-juice. To the best of my knowledge, no other research has been done assessing the effects of pathogenic bacteria on the immune response of daphnia with respect to vaping. This work could help future scientists justify conducting experiments on organisms which more closely resemble the immune response of humans, such as mice. Additionally, it could be the start of exposing the deceitful tobacco industries and showing that vaping is in fact dangerous. By bringing relevance through relevant health associations, this can help push for important regulations which will especially benefit the youth. I've also created a TikTok channel, and Vape, for which I produce several videos which frame vaping in a negative light and underscore the tobacco industry's deceitful aim to take our money and destroy our health. By using nicotine as their bait, they have covertly hooked onto the minds and wallets of people everywhere. This cannot go unchallenged. The primary benefit of using TikTok is that it's primarily composed of young people who especially need to hear the dangerous realities of vaping. When the industry's greed are exposed and the consequences of vaping are exposed, the choice is clear. Put down the pen and stop vaping. Let's take a look at one of these videos.
I don't know. I never counted. I am not really a math guy, you know?
It is my hope that one day, teens like myself can walk around campus without seeing the billowing clouds of vaping smoke, that we would not believe the shameful rhetoric of a company more concerned with profit than with our health. The new and growing research is proving unequivocally that vaping is truly dangerous. By sharing new findings and conducting more research, hope can prevail in the face of illness. We are at a critical point and must resist the grasp vaping has on people everywhere. Thank you.